We have learned yesterday that business should be the driver for the change, but at the same time, business and maybe even legislation will also have to adapt to changing environments there.
Say 10, 15 years ago, it was quite easy to have just a high-quality enrollment device manufactured and everybody wants to have it, although it's maybe more expensive. But nowadays, you also need to collaborate with third-party companies because you cannot deal with all the requirements. You need to work with cloud-based providers of some features. And this all together leads actually to a different company strategy and architecture.
When a police officer is speaking to somebody in the street and there's a reason for an interview, the first question is often, who is this person? And the second question is, what do we already know about the person? Is there something adverse? Maybe is there a warrant for arrest that I should know about because I should be arresting this person, or whatever it is. And having a handheld machine, portable, highly portable, which can give access to systems that will help the identification, can be extremely useful and efficient in getting that resolved. It can avoid unnecessary arrests, and an unnecessary arrest will cost a lot of time to the police officer and inconvenience the citizen if, you know, it's for a worry which proves to be unfounded. On the other hand, if the policeman thinks, well, I'm not entirely convinced, but it's not worth pursuing it all the way, it might be somebody who's got a warrant for arrest for a serious offence and it slips through.
35 police officers tried it, and they then gave us more ideas for more functionality, and it's been a very organic process in the meanwhile. And the way that they gave us feedback was something that we picked up on an endless meeting from the Netherlands, and Estonia later on has implemented in their solution too. Getting feedback from the user in the field in the moment when they can have time to provide us with feedback by 18 different databases from the phone.
And it can be even more, you know, driving license, criminal records, fingerprints, passport checks, lots and lots of different things all brought together. At one of the meetings, the Netherlands said they'd thought of having a little discrete vibration on the phone. If you do a name check and you're looking at the person you're speaking to, and perhaps he has a conviction for assaulting police, it's quite handy for the officer to know that very urgently, but not to make a big song and dance about it. And a very discreet vibration on the phone in the officer's hand, he doesn't need to read to see, he knows there's a warning of that type, and then he can adapt his behaviour and be careful. And you came back to the next meeting 4 months later and said, we thought that was a great idea, so we went straight back and formed an agile team and worked out how to trigger the alert and what would be the criteria, and tested it, built it, and it's part of the Swedish system. So
it is amazing what to do when you don't have anything. Like, we didn't have the money to collect all the data and secure it in all those places. Therefore, we had to find a way to get to the data that lives in somebody else's database. It's just, it was literally as simple as that. It was just lack of resources. As to privacy, I would argue that sharing information actually greatly enhances privacy. Greatly. The thing is that let's assume that there's a society that doesn't share information between agencies. This inevitably means that all the agencies need to collect all the information they need for their purposes from the citizen. This means that instead of the data living in one place, the data is going to live in 50 places in Estonia, or in 5,000 places in case of, let's say, Germany. If you think about it, what are the chances of information leaking from 5,000 different databases? It's about 100%. One of those 5,000 databases is going to be broken into. It's just a fact of life. And that gets published, because that's a security incident. And the society goes, no, dear government, you're not even managing to hold on to your current data. No, you're not sharing anything. Which leads to even less information sharing, even better and even more high quality databases, even more copies of your data, which leads to even more information security issues and so forth. And I think if you manage to avoid that in the first place by doing interoperability, that keeps data exactly in one place, then you don't end up in that feedback loop of just distrust. And you actually enhance the user's privacy because these leaks do not happen.
The blockchain is, in a nutshell, it's a database that is exceedingly hard to manipulate by any one party. So that's what it is. So there is a lot of buzzwords from distributed consensus to smart contracts to whatever, but essentially blockchain is a database that is exceedingly hard to manipulate by any one party, and it's exceedingly hard to manipulate by any one party because the whole thing, the entire database, is at many places at once, right? So it's continuously updated. There are many identical copies in many different places. And if somebody would like to do something funny with his instance of the database, everybody else would basically take a look at what you're doing and disagree, and your changes would be rejected. So it's safety in eyeballs, right? It's like an opposite of privacy. So the more people witness the blockchain, the more secure it is. So in privacy, the less people see your data, the more privacy you have. And what I would like to kind of argue is that even though this kind of opposite nature of widely witnessed blockchain and the need for privacy and confidentiality, these two concepts can actually exist together, and they can exist together in a way that actually advances the interoperability, advances the transparency from our society without sort of sacrificing our European core value, which is right to privacy.
Our customers have demanded and asked from us, and I think it comes to an acknowledgement that we can't solve all identity problems as a single organization. To solve identity takes collaboration across multiple entities and multiple organizations. And open standards drive that conversation and drive that goal. Yeah, we talk about identity. It needs to be secure. It needs to be, it's strong, and it needs to be frictionless as well. We need to reduce the burden that identity is pushing onto people. And there are new technologies coming out. We've already heard somebody in the audience spoke earlier about FIDO and the initiatives around FIDO. This is reducing that friction. We know passwords are an untenable position. Moving to stronger authentication is a definite must, but they add additional friction. But there's interesting technology coming along now that actually brings that quality and strength of authentication, but reduces the friction and the burden that it carries. And we're starting to see a lot of adoption, especially within the government space, but also within large enterprises.
Estonia has been testing one flavor of blockchain technology since 2007 in order to enforce the integrity, not enforce, but in order to enable the integrity verification for its databases, for its registries, for the logs that actually record the usage of information stored in those registries. And it's been in production use since 2012. So if you need advice on how to use blockchain technologies in governments, there is no better place actually than Estonia to see what is going on.
Finally, I can try to peek into the future, because for me it is important to discuss what our needs are in 2025. We have to start working towards those goals already today, so that we don't come back here in a few years' time and conclude that we should have really done this or that. There are two main areas we have to work further: user experience and trust, and transparency. We should not forget that our customers are not only police officers or border guards. Our main customer are our own citizens and visitors from the third countries. We have to design our IT systems with a clear focus on our customers, and interoperability here is just a first step towards the right direction. Estonia is a good example how interoperability on a national and international level has strengthened our law enforcement to be more efficient and has reduced the level of crime. Europe's internal security needs to take the same road because European Union residents deserve the best possible protection.
Similar to each revolution, we now have to work even smarter in order to make the best use of the digital era tools and standards and customize the available today tools and services in order to get the best use of them and to address the demands of society. Technology has evolved tremendously today with a very high pace, and it creates daily number of new opportunities for business. It affects the daily life of people. However, these changes, this advancement of technologies also come at a price, and they increase dramatically the number of new security challenges. Already today, EU should continue to further explore the capabilities of technologies to make border management and internal security and migration management stronger and smarter. The way to achieve it, or at least very essential part of it, is the interoperability. And personally, I'm a strong believer into it.